So we, on the negative side, believe that children should be tried as adults. Children meaning like from the ages like 12 to 13 and up. The affirmative first claims that the juvenile system helps with rehabilitation, but when we think of rehabilitation, when we think of people going to rehabilitation, we think of drug cases. But according to the U.S. Department of Justice, of all cases waived to adult courts, only 12% of the convictions were because of drugs. So the other 88% of the drug cases who go to juvie are able to get rehab in juvenile hall. According to an article titled Rehabilitation Correctional Programs in the United States, it is estimated that the U.S. prisons spend over $412 million on educational programs. This is a form of rehabilitation. So the fact that juveniles cannot get rehabilitation while they're in prison is false. And according to Rehabilitation Correctional Programs in the United States, which is the same article, about 4/5 of the U.S. prisons offer the General Equivalency Development, also known as the GED. So basically the same thing. Like, juveniles do get rehabilitation in juvenile hall, but it is also possible for them to get rehab in prison. According to the same article, these prisons also offer life skills training, vocational education, psychological/counseling programs, and community-based treatment. So the statement, yeah, basically the same thing. Juveniles can't receive rehabilitation in prison is false. Some of these institutions also have therapeutic communities that house drug-convicted inmates in a separate unit. So for the 12% of juveniles waived to adult courts for drugs, they still have rehabilitation options. On to her second point, that children are not adults. She says children aren't adults, but yet we give them options to make adult decisions. For example, according to the Seattle Times, the law allows people at age 14 to consent to a lot of their own medical treatment, such as for mental health, substance abuse, STDs, pregnancy detection, and abortion. This consent age is based on the mature minor doctrine. The mature minor doctrine is based on developmental theory that says normal adolescents are mature enough in their thinking at that age to be able to consent to their own medical care without parental consent. So we're saying that children aren't adults, yet we're giving them an option to make adult decisions. Also, the United States Department of Labor states that the Fair Labor Standards Act sets 14 years of age as the minimum age for employment in most states. So children are deemed mature enough to have jobs as young as age 14, mature enough to carry out adult tasks, but they're not mature enough to be tried as adults. Also, children are allowed to get a driver's license. At 16 years old, a 16-year-old is legally allowed to get a driver's license with completion of driver's education course. So 16-year-olds are deemed mature enough to get behind the wheel of a 2-ton motor vehicle, and we're saying they're not mature enough to be punished as adults. On to her next claim that juveniles are not fully developed. Author Carrie Gerlinter stated in the Seattle Times, just because children's brains aren't fully developed until the age of 21 doesn't mean that young people can't make good decisions or tell the difference between right and wrong. Pediatric professionals agreed that children must be held responsible for their actions. In the same article, pediatric professionals also state that as early as 12, people become able to understand the consequences of their behavior and actions. Meaning, They understand that shooting someone can result not only in the person's death, but also possible imprisonment. And I don't think anyone here can tell me that a 13-year-old who is not mentally ill does not understand that shooting someone can result in their death. The same article, pediatric professionals stated that children as young as 11 or 12 also have the capacity intellectually to think about the complexity of morality. So you can't tell me that 13-year-olds did not know that is wrong. That is, not only do they have consequences for their actions, but it's also wrong. What she failed to mention was the process and how fair it is when juveniles go through an adult court. In most states, according to nolo.com, which is a court website, in most states, a juvenile offender must be at least 16 to be eligible for a waiver in adult court. That is only 2 years of age younger than being an adult. You can't tell me that a 16-year-old doesn't know it's wrong to brutally murder someone. According to the same article, some states have an automatic transfer law, like Jessica stated, that require juvenile cases to be transferred to adult criminal court if both of the following cases are true. The offender is a certain age or older, usually 16, and the charges involve a serious or violent offense such as murder or rape. Many courts agree that even though a person is under 18, the crime is still serious enough to be waived to an adult court. Also, if the prosecutor or judge seeks to transfer the case to an adult court, the minor is entitled to a waiver hearing to show probable cause that the juvenile actually committed the offense. There are many precautions that are taken to ensure that a juvenile deserves to be waived to an adult court. According to the U.S. Department of Justice in 2010, for every 1,000 petition delinquency cases, 8 were waived to a criminal court. That is 0.008% of all petition cases. And in 89% of these cases, the children were 16 or older. And my time is up.